Hello and welcome to TFT European Regional Finals and World Qualifiers. Final day, game number 4. Enjoy.
I'm not sure it applies. Chat tends to be a little bit wild in terms of what they want to see.
Chat is always right.
It tends to be the complete opposite of what the players want to see. All 8 players today now know how much is at stake. Only 3 games left. I'm wondering where the mental is for some of the players that really need to get a comeback. Again, maybe a first place might be difficult or impossible for some of our 8th or 7th place players, but there are still 4 spots for Worlds and 2 spots for LCQ as well, so every position in the standings matters.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want everybody to know that I was pointing at chat for David here just so he sees the power of the people.
I'm blind, but not that blind. Don't worry. The chat's close enough.
As we move towards the first couple of PvE stages, we are going to look over Canvas's shoulder. Canvas, our player this set with the most consistent and most, perfect,
dominant. Yeah, you can say however many synonyms you want.
I'm looking for adjectives, but all of them work.
Stupendous,
majestic,
super, incredible, fantastic, French.
All of this.
French in TFT I think applies as well.
The most French performance to this set 8 he had. He was just, stomping all the way, and he hopefully can continue to do so as he picks up some undergrounds.
And this is where he likes to be. He likes playing from behind, especially if it involves any kind of Ezreal, reroll, or quick draw boards. We saw him playing it so much in days 1 and 2, trying to maybe emulate that same success in this game 4 of the day 3, and this is how you want to start it. You want to have a vibe pair, you want to have Ezreal already online, the underground already in as well. Maybe you find a Sona in the next few shops.
Yeah, that would be very good as players are going to find their augments.
Oh
and
my
it's
God, chat,
Prismatics
what are you doing,
through.
Makes? What are you doing? Give these guys a breather, please.
No. These are the EMEA finals. We needed to up the power, so that we did. Thank you, Mortdog.
I think a roll might come through here. Nothing really stands out to me. Oh my goodness, Canbase. Don't do him dirty like this. Underground Soul might be the pickup. You get an Ezreal as well. Maybe Radiant Relics, but I think it's too good of a spot not to pick Underground Soul, surely.
Yeah, I mean, Radiant looking really good as well.
Give the people what they want, and the people are always right, as you said, Makes, and this time you were correct.
We are seeing augments on the right side of the screen as well. Ging on that future side. Hayden picking up the Rift Walkers. Kevin on Windfall. We saw what a Windfall Prismatic first for Kevin can do yesterday, and I was astonished by that one and how it played out. So pretty good. The only one I'm a little bit in question about is Enzo, because he picked up a Toma Traits, and I want to see where this one's going.
The only problem with Windfall is that you also tend to want to lose most of your power is not coming from the augment itself, where other players are getting huge effects from the Prismatic Augment. You're just getting gold that's going to help your econ, yes, but not your strength on the board. In this case, Kevin wins. Camis, of course, definitely wants to be losing here. And a quick tech for anyone at home, you're wondering, why is this Ezreal on the 3rd row? Why is everything on this right side? And the key thing is here, you want to lose, yes, but you ideally want to kill off 1 or 2 units every single fight. And by having all units on one side, they're all targeting that same tank as the fight begins. You're able to get that on-hit effect from every single unit and kill off at least 1 unit for sure.
Okay, we're looking at Enzo, though. He chopped the Toma Traits. There is an underground emblem in play, which for now is going to allow him to actually get a little bit of extra econ items, whatever those heists will bring. But he also found a Gadgettine emblem. This maybe more dogs prediction coming true, and we are going to see like a Garen Gadgettine coming our way, or maybe just a more traditional Sona Gadgettine with the Gadgettines.
I think Enzo's good, but maybe he's not that good to risk just what is already a fantastic line with a +1 Gadgettine. You can slam onto the Sona. You have the shift for the Morgana already. Not too many Gadgettines just yet, but that's fine. It can fix itself in time. And because you're playing Underground, you're going to be playing for the loss streak early on anyway. You're, I think, fine selling the kill and the Vi in this case because you don't really want to win any of these fights anyway. And I think the cash out won't be too big. I think the moment Enzo has a chance to flip the switch and start winning in stage 3, he will.
Yeah, hopefully that is the case. Hopping over to Kerfuzzled. Kerfuzzled picked up that Oxforce emblem here, slammed it on the Ash for now. With 4 Oxforce in play, you're going to be very, very healthy, more so than anything, moving through this first couple of rounds. And what that does, you can see, he doesn't really have any 2-stars in his front line, but because of those extra shields, they just live so long.
Talking about healthy, though, the Rel, 2-star already, a massive pool of HP, especially with a Sunfire slammed as well, going to help do some damage. When you don't have damage in your backline, you don't have any 2-stars. Well, actually, you have Lucian as well. So overall, just a very good setup in this case from Ketzer. Has a great tank, has a great backline, has a Sivir with a bow as well, can build into maybe potentially something like the Last Whisper later on. Has actually a ton of components on the bench and has not slammed anything just yet.
Has not, but maybe doesn't need to, as the carousel is going to bring more eggs.
Eggs in the chat, eggs on the carousel.
Everywhere, eggs and eggs coming your way. Ketzer does have a spat, as we are seeing, but there's no available in this carousel. Could be one of those eggs, though.
You're going to have to hope maybe later on at 3-2 he can get some kind of spat enabling component or augment choice rather to find a Tactician's Crown that is of course so powerful, the +1. I think even in a carousel at stage 3 for example, if there is a spat, everyone will start pinging it, making sure that someone takes the hit, gets the spat, even if they don't want it, because they can't allow Ketzer to get a free Tactician's Crown.
I love that chat is just spamming eggs.
Clearly related to the carousel, not anything else.
We have the absolute best chat, just period. I mean, more copy pastas would be nice, but I'll take it. As we are looking at Ketzer, I just mentioned it. He does have a spat. He does have Infiniteam on board with the Lucian 2, Rel 2, Poppy 2, Pantheon 2. Pretty good board for now. Is going to give you everything you want, and I like that Infiniteam spot.
Sacrifice is all of these good things, but not much gold. Not able to hit that 10 gold threshold at 2-5 is a pretty bad sign unless you have a board as strong as this one and you can essentially guarantee not just a 5-win streak, potentially a 6 or a 7 or an 8-win streak, especially if he gets 5 Infiniteam online early.
Yeah, hopefully he can, but we'll see if the spat delivers stat for him. Kevin on the other side with that windfall. I kind of want to know how much gold he has right now. He is on level 4, so a little bit behind Ketzer for now. But King on 100 HP streaking as we move closer to Crux.
I said it, Ging is not going to get Caster Curse in this day 3. He had a great second place in game 3. I think every single game he's played from the first to this 4th game now, he's slowly inching up higher and higher in his placements. Maybe that means this will be a first place. Definitely starting off very, very hot with that 4-win streak coming into this 5th round. If he wins here, it is going to be so big for getting that 5-win streak going into Krugs and making sure your econ is staying on point.
I mean, a lot of that obviously comes back to that future side, that Radiant Zephyr. It just takes you up in the air for so long, and with only 4 or 3 or 5 units on board, you just basically play only a fraction of the board, and once that unit comes back down, you can see 2 units are already basically dead. So really, really enabling him here, no matter where it hits, honestly, in these early rounds. Of course, it's even better if it can hit something that's of relevance, but helps nonetheless.
There it is, 5-win streak. Only 10 gold though, so not in the absolute godlike spot he could be in if he had 20 gold and level 5 and a 5-win streak. But you can't have it all in TFT. Usually there is a sacrifice, there's a balancing beam to try and work with. In this case, Ging giving up some econ to have some more strength of the board and some more gold later on once that econ gives him the win streak gold as well.
We are looking at the side-by-side from our underground players. Enzo deciding to pick something up here with that Gadgeteen crest. He found a Lulu, he found the Poppy, but really, it's not so many Gadgeteens just yet. He does get the 3 going with that on the Blitzcrank for now, but is looking for more for sure.
This Blitzcrank, I think, a unique item combination. I think the first time Blitzcrank has ever had a Gadgeteen emblem, underground emblem. Ancient Archives, of course, gives you that possibility to really go much deeper into certain traits that you couldn't otherwise, especially Gadgeteen. We talked about it on day 1, top of show, tome of traits now, that much more relevant in the meta, and we're seeing why. Usually you have the very low-cost gadgeting units, it's very hard to find that 5th gadgeting because Nunu is, of course, a 5 cost. In this case, you can skip that altogether.
Yeah, I mean, that Blitzcrank woke up this morning and his mom told me you can be whatever you want. So he became Gadgeting Underground Bloodthirster Blitzcrank, but it only lasted a short while as a Twisted Fate has been acquired, is going to be our Gadgeting carry for now. And I believe that was a reforged that now we have a Sure Shot emblem instead of that Underground, which I love for Enzo.
Well, I don't think Enzo loves that as much because I'm not sure how a Sure Shot emblem fits on the Gadget team board, but maybe Blitz can come back and get a new identity.
The Underground. Come on.
Every round, Blitz will be a different trait. I think that's definitely what Blitz wants in his life.
You know, I would think that's very cool, but we will see. Right now, it is going to be Hayden against Ging. Ging still streaking. Players are trying to turn him down as after this is going to be our next augments. If these are hero augments, you want your board to be tailored for them, which is why boards might be weaker, and that is going to be the case for Ging, who loses this round, and his streak is broken. What comes around the corner for us is the question, as the augments should appear, is going to be golden augments, something that makes you very happy, David.
Hayden, I think, is starting to look at that last stand saying, it didn't actually do anything for me last game. I'm going to go ahead and pick something else. Picks up the mascot emblem. We saw this is a very strong comp. Lusher was playing it in that game 3. Didn't quite work out as well as we would expect for Lusher, but in this case, Hayden already has the Riftwalkers online. He has the Vex, he has the Malphite, he has the Pike on the board, he has a Viego already. We're in stage 3, makes.
Yeah. I mean, what more could you ask for? He has everything and gets even more. We are looking at the augments on the right side. Lusher with a little bit of a very good combination.
Golden ticket, trade sector. Do you want to roll? The answer is yes. He has 91 HP as well, so we're curious to see what Lusher's going into. Of course, Golden ticket has almost exclusively been paired with Lulu reroll all throughout today and the whole weekend, really. But we'll see if Lusher has an angle for that comp, and it looks like he
Ezreal
does not
no
for now.
Lulu.
It's going to be Malphite, but no Lulu.
Yeah, that's not what I expected going to that board. You know, I saw that golden ticket and I was like, okay, surely we're on Lulu. But we are on 0 gold. We have Kaisaz. We have a Malphite. We have some Anima Squad. I don't know what's going on. There's an Ezreal involved. It's quick draw. Quick draw, is that what we're going for?
Gonna be Super's Ezreal for now. Close to that Gangplank 3, close to the Malphite 3 as well. So despite losing here, he is close to some big power spikes. But the 0 gold is a tiny bit worrying, especially for a comp that you don't usually want to play with supers. Ezreal reroll was always a supers-oriented comp with Vi and Lee Sin having that natural synergy, and then having the GP and Malphite online as well. But in the last few weeks, really, the meta has been going for quick draw as just the better damage option with just having that one Vi and maybe another brawler as a tank.
Yeah, and we are back with Hayden. Hayden in a great spot is going to go up against Kerfuzzle. Kerfuzzle found those Ox Forces earlier, has now found the Jeweled Lotus, our player's favorite once again, and is on a little bit of a LeBlanc angle from what it looks like right now.
Hayden, it's a good spot because this comp is so stable once you hit in stage 4, but he's hit pretty much the core of this comp in stage 3. He's first in the standings right now in terms of the points before this game 4 has commenced. So just such a comfortable spot for Hayden. I think he's so happy to be in a stable spot. Even if he loses here, it's still a great spot looking to stage 4 and looking to the late game.
Yeah, I mean, Hayden is just a happy camper, but somebody that is not is going to be Canvas. Has had a fantastic season, has had a fantastic day 1, day 2, even game 1, game 2. Game 3 didn't really go his way, took a 7th, but right now is looking a little bit dire here as well. 38 HP, and if he's not on a lot of gold and close to a roll down, like a KC double situation that we often saw, then I'm very worried for Canvas now.
Enzo as well, same story. Both French players finished 7th, 8th in game 3, and now they might be in trouble, but Enzo is going to, I think, rubber band right back up in the HP standings, considering he has one of the strongest comps in the game if he's able to assemble the 5 Gadgeteen, the 2 Prankster coming to the late game, the Nard 3 ideally as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Enzo still has 60 HP. Canvas on the other side, 38, not as much.
There's going to be 100% hero augment at 4-2, so players, I think they're aware of this. If not, they can open up some kind of graph that can tell them if they've not already memorized it after their thousands of games played across this set, across having hero augments is a set mechanic, and they will be able to anticipate and tailor their boards at 4-1 to make sure they're hitting what they need to hit.
Yeah, we are looking at Enzo. We talked about this comp going into the game with the Toma traits, giving him a Gadgeteen crest. He has found it for now, slammed it on the Morgana. Normally we see it more on the Sona, but both come in combination anyway. Has the statics to apply that shred to the entire enemy team. Really lovely tech, and those extra Gadgeteen emblems, they just keep giving. 5 Gadgeteens is nice in those moments.
5 Gadgeteen spike. You have the Phony frontline giving you a little bit of extra frontline, extra time to have the Shiv procs go through, the Sona heart slowly with the Lulu as well, ramping up that damage. But more than that, you have pretty much perfect items except for that very weird Sure Shot emblem on the Poppy. You have the BT
She
and the
likes hitting hard. Give her that.
On the Gnar. You have the Shiv on the Morgana, which is so important. Ideally, you like to have a Titan Resolve on the Gnar as well, but you can get it from the Gadgeteen, which is even better in this case. In many cases, players defend the idea of having only your Gnar with 2 items. It's going to be fine because you always get a pretty good Gadgeteen item as well for the Gnar.
Yeah, and for now, that Sure Shot is at least going to proc that Gadgeteen. So does help a little bit in being tanky as the rest of the front line. Still looking a little bit weak, looking at that Annie 1 there. Is supported by some extra Teemo statues for now, but can it do enough going up against Hayden? Hayden with the great Mascot's Riftwalker position is going to have a little bit of trouble here from what it looks like as he goes up against the Gadgets.
Now everyone wondering, what is Vayne always doing on these Riftwalker boards in Stage 3? Vayne's a duelist. She doesn't have any traits related to Riftwalker. That is true, but she is, in my opinion, the best AD item carrier for 3 costs specifically. It's not always easy to find
Tactician's
a gem,
Crown.
but right away the cash out comes through for Cambiz. Tactician's Crown is online, 7 out of 8, 1 unit spot free on this board, and you have a mighty anvil to crack open as well.
If this gives you a Zonias, it is still a very good item, even after the slight nerfs to its, survivability. It is still incredibly good just because of its active effect, but is going to be the mana immune instead.
And for everyone thinking you're playing Underground, we've seen Cambiz playing into Ezreal reroll very often as well, but in this case he's gone straight to level 7. He does not want to play into Ezreal reroll, didn't have enough natural Ezreals and Vi's to go for it. Instead, going to go into the Spellslinger line, finds a pair of TFs, has the Gunblade already online, has the Nico upgraded as well, and just can make a full pivot at this point in 4-1. Make sure his units are tailoring for the augment at 4-2.
Yeah, absolutely. Those augments are coming around, so everything that shouldn't be on that board needs to go off now. Else the game can give you those moments where it goes, you want some of those maximum level threats? And you're like, are those threats in the room with me right now? I don't know what's going on, but it will definitely not happen to our players. Of course, they know how to play this game specifically, this set, and will move forward. Canvas up against Kerfuzzled. He needs to get those wins. He needs to turn it around to make sure he doesn't lose his lead on the rest of the lobby, and he will find a win here finally.
Manazin coming in so clutch. The last cast comes through, and there we're seeing it. The tailored augments also coming through. Duelist, of course, with the Vayne is because you have that TF on the board. But we'll see if Cambiz wants to take his ante up with having a TF pair especially. It's going to be so big for getting the immediate TF2. In this case, trying to find maybe the other. Oh, could be easy being green, could be gear shift.
Yeah, and the
Definitely
last roll, both of them really clutch here. But eventually they had to come up right. It is going to be gear shift for Canvas. We'll see what everybody else is up to. That gear shift should help him to make his board much more steady now.
That's the heads-up play from Cambiz. Only rolled until he had a TF pair. Knows that he had a pretty good chance of having that third TF coming from the augment itself and hitting that huge power spike. Alistar 2, Sona 2, Rammus 2 if he wants it. The shop is saying, hey, maybe you want this threat on your board.
Okay.
Maybe not.
We are looking at our overlay on the right side. Ketzer on My Sword is your shield. I believe we talked about that one. And we have Big Data and Enzo, of course, with the synchronous plating. Really lovely for a Gadgeteen player. Hayden, with his Riftwalker angle, finds that rule of 4. I love that for him as well.
And there we see it. The Warwick gets bopped. Cambiz, a big win. The only downside here, despite this being obviously an incredible spot for Cambiz, is the fact that he does not have a Shiv on TF and doesn't have maybe the ideal item components for what he wants to do. Still 3 components on the bench. has not slammed anything just yet. Going to keep his options open. If you feel you're strong enough without having to slam this, then by all means, it's going to be the play. You can have more flexibility coming into the next PvE round.
Yeah, I mean, if you feel you need to, but Canvas looking to have stabilized for now, 2 wins in the tank, and the gap is closing steadily. Ging now next to him down there in those overall lobby standings on 38 HP. Next up is Hayden, so a little bit of a buffer between those 2 players as well. And then the rest of the lobby is fairly close, I would say.
Jin 2 found for Hayden, 2 Jins in the shop as well. If he was richer, he might start going for that Jin 3 project, but I'm not sure that's going to be the play for now, at the very least, for Hayden. Very healthy in Stage 3, has now fallen heavily in his HP totals, down to 44. We'll see if he can, at the very least, win this fight and start making a bit of a comeback now leading into the late game. It's going to be hard. We're going to have that Nico with 2 Shojins and a Gunblade, but for now, it seems like Jin can clean up with the help of Vex, and that will be the case.
Yeah, extra gold being printed for Hayden as we speak. He needs it. He was on 0, if I saw that correctly. Janna and Leona going to be in the pool here now. I don't think the Leona is that attractive, maybe for the tier, but from the legendary, somebody might pick up the Janna. It goes well into those Oxlingers.
Fuzzled will pick up that Leona for now. Looking at the HP totals though, makes overall pretty decent parity. Obviously still a big gap between 1st and 8th. I think Kamaz especially, he was playing Underground for most of that game, was now able to stabilize at 27, but Ging again leaning into Duelist and once again not looking so good as he did the same reason in that game too.
Players now looking for those levels. We just saw Ging go level 8. He always knows who he's up against with the Future Side and the Radiant Zephyr, but is that enough? He's on that duelist line. And just speaking from a neutral, factual standpoint, I love duelists, okay? I love them as much as the next person. But so far, the duelists are not doing great in the EMEA finals.
Big play by Ging. Make sure to pop off the TG off of the TF. Puts the Shiv online, but it's still so far from the Vayne 3. It's this big win condition with the 8 duelists now online. They did receive a bit of a nerf, or at least they were once again balanced to the spot they should be in after 39.B. The B patch came through. Is it going to be strong enough to win this fight, though? That's going to be the big question. The answer seems to be yes. But still, Ging needs to find the Vayne 3 if he wants a top 4 here.
Yeah, absolutely. So for now, he might be kind of okay-ish, but just look at his HP. He's bled so much already. So every loss that's now happening is going to put him further down in the tank, not really where you want to be. So needs to find something, doesn't have a lot of gold to work with. Going to hop on over to Lusher now. We were so confused about this spot, right? Going in, he finds that golden ticket. We think, okay, it's Lulu. He finds that trade sector. We hop on over to the board, and he's running Ezreal Supers, is on the blue buff, has that Rabadons, has the Giant Slayer, and is looking for the Kai'Sa 3 from what it looks like.
Has hit a lot of upgrades, so no surprise. He has 2 economic items with a trade sector and golden ticket. How much can this Ezreal do without the Ezreal carry augment is the big question. No Radiant items either. There wasn't a massive underground cash out throughout this game. The Malphite 3 came in early, but can it tank enough against this Infinity Team board? All the damage dealers are still left alive. The Sivir, the Ezreal, on both sides left alive, but Ezreal, Lil Bro, stays alive, kills off the Samira, but can't kill the Sivir in the end. Another loss for Lusher here, 2 in a row.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not great for him, but just looking at his HP, he can still tank a little bit more. I was much more worried about him going into that mid-game. We are going to get a PvE round to maybe turn things around for Hayden and Canvas now that they're below 20.
Hayden gets the Echo in, gets 3 Aegis in as well. If he thinks this lobby is going to be AP heavy, that might be the play to go. We saw a lot of Spell Slingers overall on quite a few boards. Canvas especially, who still has actually lost 14 HP now for Canvas. So going into Stage 5, this could be 1 life left if he takes a big enough loss. The Manazane on the Asol 1, maybe not doing enough. He needs to find a way to go level 8. He needs to find a way to get a few more upgrades to 2-star.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm so surprised to see Hayden down here as well with so little gold. He had that perfect Riftwalker mascot start, but it's not really coming together for him. Maybe on the fact that he's competed just a little bit, not finding what he's looking for. I mean, look at that front line. It's just not very frontliney.
I mean, he needs upgrades, especially Viego with 3 items, and it's still Viego 1. If it dies before it can get the Archangel stack, before it can get actual healing from Gunblade, the Onyx Spark, it's all up to Viego. He's kind of the utility carry in this comp at this point in time, and he's missing all these upgrades. 0 gold, you haven't hit anything, all of these pairs on the bench. Such a sad situation for Hayden. And Ging hits the Vayne 3, incredible.
Ooh! That is really, really good for Ging, but bad news for Hayden, as he's going to be on the receiving end. That Shroud of Stillness hits his Vex. The Zephyr, the Radiant Zephyr, nonetheless, lifts up his Jhin and takes him out of contention, is sniped by the Vayne right away, and Hayden takes a massive hit here, is going to knock him down to 2 HP. Can he turn this around somehow? I mean, at least the positive, okay? The Ray of Light, he just played against that Vayne 3.
There is no worse feeling in the game to look at the side on the HP totals, all of a sudden see a 3-star, and see that that player is in your pool, the fight loads in, you're facing that player, and you take a massive loss in this case as well. Gnar 3 found for Enzo, everyone hitting their key carries a little bit later than they would have hoped for, I think, in the case of Enzo, especially down to 16 HP. One big loss and it could be over, but with Gnar 3, with the itemization especially, I think he should be fine.
We're going to keep on watching Hayden. Maybe he can turn it around. He's up against Kevin Parker. Kevin with the big data, big HP coming through. Does have an Urgot 2 already, 5-2 with Thrill of the Hunt. That Warwick is going to get massive amounts of healing. Can the Jhin can take him out? I don't think he can. Everything is collapsing onto Hayden's backline. He's knocked out, minus 12 HP, and Kerfuzzled falling here as well. 5 HP. Will Canvas follow? He only has 14 to give. Is up against the Gadgetines, but he's looking good. It is going to be Enzo who finds a loss here and gets died by Annie.
We were just talking about it. Surely he's not going to lose after that Gnar 3 upgrade, but still such a massive hit. Exactly 0 as well. The France-on-France action does not benefit Enzo in the end. Canvas stays alive. And Hayden, I think, we're speaking things into existence a little bit too strongly, makes. What goes up must come down. Hayden, a first place last game without even using his augment. In this case now, balances out to an 8th place. He's our HP or 8-point leader as well coming into this game. So, tough for him, but great for the rest of the lobby.
Yeah, honestly, it's exactly that. Once again, a trend continues from Game 3 to Game 4 for now, as we are going to watching Lesher's board here on the right side going up against Kerfuzzled. He could put him out. Lesher still has too much HP to really be worried here. Ketzer, same way around. He's looking to take out Canvas. Both boards going side by side, and it's looking like Canvas can survive, but can Kerfuzzled? Looking not good for him. Lesher takes him out in a swift minus 3 HP hit.
In that fight with Canvas, so much backline damage from the Ezreal Sure Shot and the Acel as well. In the end, the Acel survives just enough. Canvas now in 5th place. Ging with that Vayne 3 able to jump up to 4th for now at the very least, but the HP totals are starting to even out. Ketzer still very far ahead. Ketzer, who had a very bad start to the tournament in those first 2 games, got a 4th in Game 3, and now is maybe finally jumping up to that 2nd or 1st.
Yeah, we are looking at Ging now. He found that Vayne 3. We were talking about the duelist boards not going as far as we expected them going into this tournament here, but
this is so big. He's able to juggle the Zephyr, take it off of that kill, get the Morgana in instead. And with 14 HP, where maybe one fight is the difference between a 3rd and a 5th, so important to have the Zephyr free to be able to make sure, or at least try your best to hit your opponent's main carry.
Yeah, and I can tell that chat could hear me. I'm very sorry. My voice is a little bit cracky. I do not mean to make you hear that, chat.
There it is, a TF up in the air, and Ging does not care, but Canvas definitely might, because the TF takes so long to start dealing damage. This is the main carry in Canvas's comp. Canvas killed off Enzo earlier. Can he kill off Ging as well? The answer might be yes. The bop comes on. The Force of Will stops the Vayne for a second, but the Vayne is still trucking on, and she survives somehow. Canvas taken down to 4 HP.
Yeah, and he holds on, though. He can still, you look at this position and you're
free
like...
upgrade?
you look at this and you're like, okay, maybe it's not a fifth, maybe it's a fourth, right? That's kind of what you're thinking when you're in Canvas's shoes here. However, if I saw that correctly, Kevin Parker just found a Warwick 2. If I'm not mistaken, he had a Warwick 2 already, so he might be on his way to look for that Warwick 3 that we saw from Snooty yesterday.
We're going to take a page, or a wolf in this case, out of Snooty's book. Does that make sense? I don't think it does, Mix, but we're going to roll with it because we need to continue casting this very exciting Game 4. And it's all up to Ging. Can the Vayne put out enough damage to stay alive for one more fight? He barely was able to win the last one. The TF Zephyr does hit the opponent's Ezreal sure shot, and already the Vayne is onto that backline, able to kill off one, able to kill off a second as well. Samira down. Just so much damage coming from the double deathblade on the Vayne, and a big win for Ging. A big win for Canvas as well, it looks like.
Yeah, and we can see on the backline there for Lusher, I believe it was, that he's holding Warwicks. So he's trying to delay that Warwick 3 that we were talking about as much as possible. But look at her overlay. Ketzer, who has had just an easy breezy ride throughout this entire game, is on 62 gold. Man's rich.
He's trying to go level 9. He's trying to make sure he can make his board as strong as possible. If you have a huge HP buffer, you have to work with that HP. Greed out for a few rounds. Make sure you can actually close out this game in the first place because Ketzer desperately needs it as well.
Yeah, 100%. Ketzer, here he is. 7 Infinity. My sword is your shield with that Belveth in there. I love it. I love it so much. I'm very happy for him. We're popping that anvil right away. What are we picking up here? Garen has 3 items already.
Will most likely be an item for the Ezreal sure shot, trying to get as much damage as possible. If that was a 3-item Ezreal already, maybe you'd go more into the front line, but I think you need that 3rd item. Items, of course, stacking 3 items is specifically important because you get that much more benefit from having those 2 items already on the Ezreal.
And here is Kevin's board. I knew it. This guy's looking for one big woofy boy, and actually his front line is so massive. One of the Warwicks didn't even get to play for quite some time, was just blocked out by all that beef in the front line.
Oh my god,
but he's taken a hit. This Annie does not know mercy. She comes in once again. Kevin will be taken down by the Panda with -5 HP, 1 copy away from the Warwick 3.
Don't make me the villain of the story.
Guys of Panda, you know it.
Yeah, it is true. It is maybe unfortunate to have a little legend that is called Panda in the game, but it is also nice because it is, I think, one of the best ones. Not so much so in that case for Kevin Parker. Lasercore had a great setup. Mordekaiser 2 itemized as well, but the Twister from the Janna comes in, stops all that damage for just enough time, and in the end, Kevin falls down to 5th Cambis. A miraculous run after that underground cash out at 4 HP in a dream.
Yeah, I was really hoping for Kevin to find that Warwick, but you can see everybody else was holding on to them, making sure that he really does not get here. But Ketzer is up against Canvas, and only one of our 2 French players can come out of this one swinging. Somebody's got to go home. Will Canvas find yet another win against the other players? And it's looking like that might be the case. Ketzer taking a massive hit here by the comp that Canvas has built, and it just keeps on giving with the dies of Panda.
Dies of Zephyr as well, rolls it on the TG, throws one of the Ezreals up into the air for the first few seconds of that fight. Could have been a difference maker in the end, but Kemba is now 3rd place, 4 HP, Lusher at 5, but Ging, that's the real story of this game. 4 hit the Vayne 3 exactly when it needed to, won a few fights by so little, and is now sitting first in the HP standings with a huge win streak going off.
And it is on to Canvas, Lusher, and Ging. Ging with 14 HP, Lusher with 5, Canvas with 4. They're all in for a fight. It is up against Lusher and Ging. The Radiant Zephyr lifts up the Lee Sin. He really does not care at all. The backline is untouched. Kaisa 3, Ezreal 3. They keep going here. They keep on trucking as the Kaisa has found the Twisted Fate, found the Vayne 3, but she found her back and she takes her out. Ging finds a win against Lusher, and Canvas stays in contention.
So close. The targeting there, the Vayne just barely moved to the right, moved to the tanks. The Edgewell and the Kai'Sa left alive for a little bit longer, but just enough in the end. Every single fight with these duelists is coming down to 1 or 2 units. Cambiz picks up the Rabadon's Ging, picks up the ice cream cone. It is summer. It is hot outside. Does make sense here for me at the very least, but it's all about the Zephyr at this point in time. So many key units that you want to be hitting on Cambiz's board.
I'm sorry, spam this thing to help Ging win? I love it. What a perfect copy pasta. Keep that going, chat. I'm proud of you. Cambiz against Ging. We can see there's not much gold to work with here on both sides. Level 9 out of question for both players. It is all going to come down to the positioning here. Will that Zephyr hit anything? Or will it go into nothing? We can see it come in. It is going to lift up the Syndra. Not ideal, but probably what Cambiz was looking for. The Asol will have some comments raining down on the enemy front line. Is going to help in taking them down. They're on to that Twisted Fate, and they're going to be moving on to that Vayne. And once more, a final time, the Annie comes in, and she falls down with her Chunk Panda, and Cambiz takes yet another game in game number 4 of our final day.
And Cambiz, the absolute Grim Reaper. How many times did we see this cutscene?